Hi, in this lesson, we're going to talk a little bit about planning with your final product in mind. Now that we have an idea of what we want to research and our 5 subtopics, we want to think about our final product and how our final product is going to be structured so we can organize our research and our findings around that. Here, we are going to look a little bit at my prepared mind map. So I decided that I am going to do a little research project on mycology, which is the study of fungi. So I brainstormed a few different ideas, more than 5, about maybe some different areas that I might want to go with this. So what I want you to do is kind of use this. At this point, you should have a mind map. So I want you to use this to kind of plan with your final project in mind. Now, your final project is a PowerPoint presentation, and you're required to have 2 slides worth of information for each subtopic. So I have grabbed and created a template for an inquiry project presentation. I did this on Google Slides, and so I'm able to share this with you. And so all of my slides, all the master slides, go over here. And so we'll notice that there's always an intro slide. You always are going to have an intro slide that contains the title of your presentation, the name of the presenter, your information. Sometimes people put their contact information, maybe it's an email or a website or something like that. You can also have an appropriate image or background. And then you're also going to give an oral introduction into your topic. Like any piece of writing, anything formal that you do, you want to make sure that there is an introduction where you talk about what you're doing, what the point of your presentation is, why you are doing this, and give a little bit of background information. Those are the main ingredients to any introduction, and the same thing goes with the presentation. So then you'll notice that I have 2 slides allocated for topic 1, 2 slides for topic 2, and then I scroll down to the end. There's 5 topics total. So once we're done and we're on the second slide of topic 5, I want to make sure that everyone is aware you need to also have at least 2 slides for your primary research findings. Now, this may change depending on the project. Some people will do a survey and they will include information from that survey over a couple of slides designated for primary research. Other people will add in primary research based under what subtopic it fits the best. But what's really important here is that you make sure that you dedicate some slides specifically to the findings of your primary research. We're going to talk a little bit more about primary research in the next video. So the other thing is you want to make sure that at the end of your presentation that you have a slide for questions. It doesn't have to have a whole lot on it, but you do want to make sure that you have an opportunity for people to ask questions. Now, if you're doing a digital presentation, you won't likely be able to have a live opportunity for questions, but you can certainly give them contact information if they have any questions for you. The last page is always or the last part of your presentation is your conclusion, which always kind of sums up your findings and leaves your audience with some insight as to, or final thoughts on what you're doing. And your last page, most importantly, yes, I am very sticky on this. You must have a reference page. You must have your references properly formatted. And there's guidance on that in the inquiry project. This handout right here, which is about to come out, Unit 4, Stage 2. So this is in planning, and it has a little bit more information in there and in some of your other slides about how to format those final citations on that final page. So when we go back here, this is a template that's available to you when you're planning. You might already have your topics kind of planned out. You know, topic 1 is going to be this. So then you might actually, as you begin to go and find your information, you might plug your notes into there initially. Now, when you're doing your presentation, you don't want a bunch of notes that you've taken and your raw data. You want to turn that into something that's presentable. But if you're gathering and wanting to use that as as a way of kind of collecting that information. And knowing if you have enough, then you're able to do that. I often will do that in the speaker notes. I will add in information that I've found under that topic and track my resources in the speaker's notes page. I find that works really, really nicely. Another template that you can use, and this title is titled Example iProject Presentation Structure Template with Sections. So this one's a little bit different because what it does is it actually, instead of just 2 slides for each topic, it has your research question and then 2 slides that follow where your information is. So it gives almost a title slide for each section of your project. I like this one personally. I think it works really, really nicely. Once again, a couple of slides in here for your primary research findings, but if those are embedded into topics, that is okay as well. Same thing with the questions, the conclusions, or the conclusion and the reference page as well. So you're able to use these and plug in those pieces of information. So I'm going to give you, just as an example, if we look back at my plan here, when it comes to my mycology project, I definitely know that I'm going to use this topic right here as one of my first topics, because before I start talking about mycology, people need to know what it is. Probably anyone who's even watching this video might be going, what is she talking about? What is mycology? And it's the study of fungi. So yes, that makes me a little bit nerdy, but that's okay. I am going to plug that in. So characteristics and type of fungi might go into my research question 1. So that might be my topic here. I'm going to plug in characteristics and types of fungi. I could fancy this up and stuff, but when I'm working on it and it's a working document, it doesn't have to be fancy yet, although that capitalization thing bothers me. So then what I would do is I would plug in for each one of these sections. Then I would go on and talk about the role of fungi in ecosystems, which is a really cool topic as well. So then I go and I plug that in here. So I would choose the topics that are the 5 most important ones, or the ones I'm most interested in, and the ones that my audience would really honestly need to know before I start talking about more in-depth stuff. So then I would plug that in there. Oh dear. Here we go. And so then as I go and I find my information, I begin to plug it in here, tracking my sources with in-text citations. So that's a little bit on planning with the end in mind. I just find that that is way more helpful when I have a structure to be able to plug my research into as I'm going. And a lot of students find that way easier because it can get really easy to be lost in all of the information and forget where it's going. So hopefully that is helpful for you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me.